My singing monsters theories are absolutely insane. What if the Stair Shaper watched the cataclysm take place and did nothing to stop it? What if Wither uses a Echidna's skeleton to play? As it turns out, MSM theories have levels, and they get far more disturbing than you could ever imagine. Level 1. The first level of MSM theory starts off with one of the most well-known theories, as well as a couple of issues against it, with this theory being that Wubbox is not the Hex. This is one of the ones that was confirmed false by Big Blue Bubble themselves, but a ton of people, including me, still think that Wubbox is not the real Hex and that the true 6-element monster will be added to the game sometime soon. For starters, Wubbox actually contains way more than 6 elements. When you box monsters on Natural and Fire Islands, it takes in all of those elements, and then it also appears on Ethereal Island, which would also technically make it more like an 11-element monster. On top of that, it's even on Wublin Island, which adds the supernatural elements into the mix, making Wubbox closer to a 12-element monster than a clean 6. There's also the lore side of things. The Wubbox was supposed to be created by Galvana, but if Wubbox is the Hex, that doesn't really line up or get explained at all. And even just from a gameplay perspective, it gets really complicated if Wubbox is supposed to be both the Hex elemental and the singular supernatural element at the same time. It's messy and it doesn't fit the idea of a simple grand 6-element monster. Maybe Wubbox is the Hex, like it probably is, but in my heart and soul, it's not. Level 2. The second theory on this list is that we see multiple dead monsters throughout the game. One of the first decorations that you're able to unlock in the game is the Eerie Remains and its matching decoration Fossilosaurus. Some people thought that the Eerie Remains were the remains of Stog back from the Dawn of Fire, but seeing how the second half of it doesn't match up, the head part, I think this is false. But that doesn't mean we don't see another monster skeleton anywhere in the game, because if you look at Wither and the instrument that it plays, and then you look at Echidna, something here doesn't look quite right. Not only does Wither play the skeleton the exact same way that Echidna plays, it looks almost the exact same. This is slightly far-fetched, as nothing explicitly says that these are the same monster, but it's still worth theorizing about. Level 3. Moving on to level 3, we're moving into slightly darker territory here, and we'll be talking about Spurrit. You might be wondering, what is so dark about Spurrit? But when you look into how Spurrit came to be, you realize that it's a lot worse than him just being a monster. Spurrit used to be a human and was the first person to ever come in contact with the monster world. But when he traveled into the monster world, that trip ended up being his only trip, as he ended up getting stuck inside the world with no way to get out. But instead of dying, here's where the theory takes place. I believe that he eventually ended up somehow morphing into the Spurrit monster, which would be why the Spurrit statue looks exactly like the monster, even though it was supposed to be a gift to the human version of himself. This would mean that his body completely disfigured itself to make him into the monster form, which is high-key brutal. And just going off script here, I know how he transforms into the monster, I think, and it's with the little whenever he drinks a little like monster water. I don't know what it's called, but the little particles in it, the monstrium, I think it's called. But I think he drinks that, and then it slowly over time turn him into a little Spurrit guy. Yeah. Level 4. The fourth theory on this list is a little darker than the rest of the ones so far, and it's that as the end of the Dawn of Fire came to happen, the Stair Shaper knew, and let it happen so that it could introduce the magicals to the monster world. This comes from the fact that the Stair Shaper sent down the 4 magical titans after the cataclysm to fill the now empty places where the Outer Islands were. We've also seen that the Stair Shaper is extremely powerful. Powerful enough in fact to retrieve the remains of the Outer Islands from the Prism Gate and temporarily partially reform them to place them back in their mirror timeline. If they could reform the Outer Islands to begin with, why did they just use them as an experiment with the Mirror Titans instead of just bringing back the actual islands in some form? This theory doesn't necessarily imply that the Stair Shaper is evil, just that they clearly have priorities other than the general safety and diversity of the monster world as a whole. By the way, thanks to Jadestone 6 for this little theory. They low-key cooked with CS, and yeah. Level 5. This one is basically confirmed and is one of, if not the most disturbing on this list. As we all know, when the cataclysm took place, the Prism Gate swallowed every single outer island, where they stayed until they were turned into the Mirror Magical Islands. But this is the last time we ever see the Prism Gate, and by extension, the Prismatics. Where did the Prismatics go? We only see one Prismatic monster in modern times, with that being Prismatic Quibble, who took the place of Epic Quibble. My theory is that all of the other Prismatics either just straight up died during the cataclysm, or they were instead isolated from everyone else, and then they ended up slowly dying off on their own. Either way, this is one of, if not the only case, where an entire species of monster died, leaving only one left alive. Those were the 5 levels of My Singing Monsters theories, and I think they honestly leave open more questions than answers. Hopefully, we get more answers to a few of these, and if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.